favourite Godzilla moment?
You know what it is, Nisha. It's where he does the drop kick. Put the clip in. I know we've already done videos about Godzilla on this channel before, but we're going to do another one because the G-Train doesn't have brakes. And today we're specifically focusing on the fact that there is only one copy of the original Godzilla Raw. Yeah.
Well, it's such an iconic roar, isn't it?
It is. It's so iconic, and I'd say it's up there as one of the most singular, recognisable noises from cinematic history. Like, it's right up there, like the Wilhelm scream and the noise that Jaws makes when it farts. It's unreal. And I think the reason it's just so synonymous with Godzilla is because it doesn't sound like anything else. Because there are a lot of sounds in cinema that are recycled from other things. And obviously you must know it's like working behind the scenes on a lot of productions and things like that. But my favourite example of that is the Velociraptor noise from Jurassic Park, which I'm guessing a lot of people can picture. It's like the weird, like guttural grunting, like the I'm not going to do the note, but you can put the clip in of a Velociraptor making its, like, you know, its cry. And people might not know, but that noise is a turtle having sex. Seriously, put the clip in of a turtle having some sex. No, a tortoise, sorry, having some tortoise sex. You know, the slowest sex ever. And then just compare it to the Velociraptor noise. It's exactly the fucking same. Like, they did some stuff to it, but that ruined Jurassic Park for me to a degree, because now every time I hear the Velociraptors communicating, all I can see in my head is just like two little cobblestones just getting their fuck on.
It's going to ruin it for me as well.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
You didn't know that?
No.
Well, now everyone in the audience does too. Or another one that's less disgusting is Star Wars and Star Trek, where the doors open, which is just someone pulling a sheet of paper out of an envelope. So, shh.
Yeah.
And before we move on, are there any noises from like films or TV shows that you just like the backstory of how they're made? Because there's quite a few interesting stories like this, isn't there?
Yeah, it's like when they need sound effects for bone snapping, they use like a carrot. Or
Yeah,
like,
they're really good.
When, you know, with horse clip clopping, they use like coconuts or something.
Yeah,
like,
and that's funnily enough where the joke from what was it now? God damn it! That was the name of the film when they do that. Oh God, no! I hate when you have a brain fart like this. It's going to really piss me off.
That story.
It's not Life of Brian. It's the other one. The other Monty Python fun. You're not going to help me, are you? Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
No,
God, you know what? Leave that bit in, because that shows that this shit's improvised. Yeah, Monty Python and the Holy Grail, they do the coconut sound effect because they couldn't afford horses. And as a joke, they said, let's just do the coconut sound effects anyway and leave it in. The most impressive stuff is the little shit no one notices, because a fun fact for people who don't know much about film production, almost everything is added later except for the voice. The only thing major films record sound-wise on the day is the voices. Every other thing is added in post-production, including little things like the ruffle of clothes, putting down a cup. And this is usually one of the ways you can tell if people making a TV show or a film gave a shit, because there's always little inconsistencies you can notice if you know to look out for them. My favourite being when people put cups down and they make the noise of a full cup, even though you know the actor was holding an empty cup, and it's like, oh, good day, and stuff like that gets to me. It really fucking does. And I know it gets to other people because there's a famous story about golf tournaments. And one of the things a lot of golf tournaments do to make the whole thing just seem more serene and like you know, they're one with nature, is they just artificially pipe in bird noises as people are teeing off. And an ornithologist noticed this once by writing to them and saying, well, the bird call you had in the background of this tee off at this time in this location is a bird that isn't endemic to that area. So unless you've got one off like stage and you're quite holding it into a microphone and making it call into the mic, those noises are bullshit.
Yeah.
And they had to admit, yeah, we do that. Because otherwise it's just complete silence, and it's like, that's great. The idea that someone cared enough to write a letter of complaint and call them out on that bullshit. And oh man, I love all crap like that. But to bring it back to Godzilla, little things like that, for me, sometimes can ruin or take me out of a movie at least. Because when you recognise a noise or you recognise a sound effect you've heard before, it's like, oh, well, now I know. Now I know they just went and got, like, the Wilhelm scream always pisses me off.
I'm literally going to say it, because I know it, you can't miss it now.
And it's so iconic. And every time I hear it, 'cause we fucking know it's a cliche. Stop doing it. It just draws me out of the film and pisses me off. But I guess I'm in the minority of people who notice or give a shit or complain in a YouTube video about it. But you don't get that with the Godzilla roar because it doesn't sound like anything else on Earth that exists. You hear it and you think Godzilla. You don't think of like, say, for example, the Velociraptor's tortoise sex.
So there must be a story behind how the iconic noise is made because it's not natural.
It's not, and the story about where it comes from is that the sound designer for the movie rubbed a resin-covered leather glove along a bass guitar string.
Usually when they make a monster noise, they will put in a mixture of animal.
Yeah, that's the usual way they do it. Like, I think a lot of the roars of the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park and things like that, other than being tortoises having sex, are a mixture of like lions, whales, bears, and they'll play them backwards. They'll do all sorts of crazy bullshit to just basically make them sound less like that creature, to sound like something that's like an amalgamation of them.
Yeah.
And they tried that originally for Godzilla, and the sound designer tasked with like create a roar for this fucking creature right now. I think it's Akira, and I'm going to mess this up. It's like Ifukube. I hope that's pronounced correctly. He said, I tried every combination of animals I could fucking think of. Nothing worked. I went to the zoo and spent all day at the zoo just poking a microphone at various animals and tried layering them, looping them, like playing them as loud as possible, cutting bits out, playing them backwards. Like nothing he did worked, and he came to the conclusion that it's because every single thing he was trying to create the roar from was natural, and Godzilla is not natural. He's an artificial creation of humanity. She said, what I need to do is think outside the box and go for something else that's artificial, and that's how he stumbled across the guitar solution, which, as stupid as it sounds, fucking worked because that noise is now one of the most iconic in cinema. But I love the idea of just a guy just wandering around a zoo, just poking, and I was like, come on, make noise.
I'm just like imagining poking like a microphone through the cage and it just being eaten by lions.
Just points in like the alligator cage, just gets snapped up. It's like, oh god damn it. He just goes into a box and gets another bunch of microphones. Oh man, what animal do you think would just go the most ape shit if you shoved a microphone in its face? I'm gonna say alligator.
I was gonna say like maybe an ape or a monkey. They just steal stuff, don't they?
Oh man,
like,
that'd be so good.
Chimpanzees just steal stuff from you.
It'd be like those videos where they steal people's windscreen wipers and shit. Oh man, did you ever see that story about the monkey? I got so fat it had to go on a diet and it just stopped moving. And it was called something stupid like Big Daddy.
No,
please,
but I want to hear this.
Nisha, if you end up editing this video, please put the picture behind me of like the Big Daddy monkey. Okay. If it's Brad, find the name they call it, because it's the name locals use for this monkey, and it's so fat. It's just this puddle on the floor. It's fucking unreal.
Bringing it back to Big Daddy G.
That's his fucking name. Don't wear it out.
What's this about there only being one recording of his roar?
Well, as you can probably guess, given that there are so many films from back in the early days of cinemas that are now considered lost, people back then didn't really have much foresight for things like sequels or reboots or American reboots. So generally they didn't hold on to stuff all that much, and as a result there was only one analog recording of the Godzilla roar. And for the most part, analog recordings are considered by audiophiles and experts to be superior to digital ones, but they do tend to degrade every time every time a copy is made. Yeah. So as you can imagine, Toho, who now own the rights to Godzilla and that roar, are very protective of it, which I think makes it kind of adorable that for the 2014 American reboot of Godzilla, they didn't make a copy for the filmmakers, they sent them the original fucking recording, which would have meant like if they lost that or damaged it, that's Godzilla's original roar just gone. And what the filmmakers did is they took that roar and tried to enhance it as much as they fucking could. And there are so many stories behind the scenes of the making of 2014 Godzilla, of the things they tried to do to make the roar sound scarier.
Everything from rusty door hinges, drum toms, and rubbing them to create kind of squeaks.
It wasn't like a eureka moment, it was just like we kept doing a million passes at it. Mm-hmm. And finally we're like, okay, that's it, that's great, that's good.
And when they combined all these things together and had their final completed roar, they realised, well, there's only one way to test if this will have the impact that we want it to. So they borrowed a sound system from, I believe, the Rolling Stones that consisted of several 100,000 watts of speakers, set them up in the studio lot, stood about 20 feet in front of it, and then played the roar through it at max fucking volume so they could experience what a Godzilla roar would sound like for real. And the story goes that they had complaints coming in from 3 miles away from people who thought there was an earthquake or an explosion at the studio.
Just imagine being like Rolling Stones and getting that request, just like, can we just borrow your sound system to do the roar?
Yeah, that's what it was, wasn't it?
Do the roar.
Oh, I hope they gave the Rolling Stones a copy though, and just said, "Oh, you know what? Here's how you start your concerts." Roar! Giant lizard just fucking does loop stage. So good.
Just imagine it blowing the venue apart.
Oh,
Which, like, yeah, this rocks.
I imagine it being that scene from, I think it's one of the Jackass movies, where they get Bam or Ryan Dunn sat on the recliner behind the jet engine, and the jet engine just blows him away.
Oh my god.
Oh man. Well, like it's when Milhouse gets Bone Storm and he tries to enter his name and it just blows all his hair fucking back 'cause it's so loud.
This is great! And all I've done is enter my name! Thrill House!
I just made me think, because I've been watching Futurama, that windy shrimp, when they go to that
Oh yeah,
planet to save all the
rescue all
animals.
the animals.
And it's just the windy shrimp is like this big and it's blowing fry away.
Oh man. Yeah. So to conclude, there is literally only a singular copy of Godzilla's Roar in existence, and they lent it to Legendary to make their own version of it, who then played it through a giant fucking speaker system and deafened people up to 3 miles away, which is something that's very Godzilla, I have to admit. Let's for a moment imagine that, like the people from Legendary, we had access to a several 100,000 watt sound system through which we are allowed to play any given noise we choose once. What noise do you want to choose to play through that so people for 3 miles around are forced to listen to it? Because I have got some fucking good ideas.
The noise that's popping into my head is the one that Zoidberg makes.
Oh, which one?
Oh.
As you leave a room, as you quit a job. You walk in, you quit a job and just say, but before I go, one thing to leave you with, and just the entire earth itself seems to just like resonate with that as you leave the room sideways. It's just the building's acoustics just get destroyed by whoop, 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 whoop. Oh, but do you know what I think mine would be? Mine would be that stupid meme air horn noise people do. Like, bah, bah, bah. I'd want that, but I'd want it positioned. Not for me, but for a shitty prank show. Do you know those shitty prank YouTubers and they do that?
Yeah.
And I want it to come through, and I want it to be like Inception, when the cafe explodes around Leonardo DiCaprio. I want it to be that loud, it blows everything up like that. And I also want to see someone come in and like, April, like, do you know that moment in The Simpsons where Bart shouts April Fools, and the beer can just explodes the entire house? I want it to be like that. And I can put it on YouTube as the ultimate prank video and kill that genre forever. Because I will have pulled the ultimate prank, death by air horn.
Basically, just play Rick Astley. Never gonna give you up. Just Rickroll everyone.
Rickroll the entire world. Play it at like the presidential inauguration or something like that. Just like the president steps on stage, taps the microphone once, and as he does it, just the clouds just form as you just see at the end of Independence Day, the speakers just come through the clouds and just start playing Never Gonna Give You Up. The ultimate Rickroll. Just get Rick sat on, you get Rick there, and he's immune, and he doesn't understand why he's immune to the damage. And yeah, then you have just him.
Turns out he's sat on the speaker singing it live.
Oh my god, the ultimate Rickroll. Rickroll the entire planet at once. Just decimate continents for a laugh. I love it.
Yeah.
And then people ask, like, you're at The Hague, and they ask you, like, well, you stand accused of destroying just half of the Western world with giant speakers, blaring out Rick Astley, and like, what do you say in your defence if there is one? And you just look at the microphone and go, it was just a prank, bro. And you get away with it.